Hi there, folks. Welcome back to Rich Reviews. My latest film for you guys here now comes from Netflix, and it's called The Dig, and this is a low-key British affair. And this is based on a novel, and this might be the rare time that, considering the fact that I read a whole lot of novels lately, that I would actually love to pick up this novel and see for myself what the whole fuss was about, considering that 30 some odd years ago, this probably would play as a two-part episode on Masterpiece Theater. Now, obviously, this type of thing goes directly to Netflix. And this is the true story of the Sutton Hoo expedition or excavation that led to the uncovering of a Anglo-Saxon burial ship and treasure, and the treasure is now stored in the British Museum. This stars Ralph Fiennes as Basil Brown, who's an excavator who's hired by Edith Pretty, played by Carey Mulligan, who's somehow, as weirdly enough, is trying to convince you that she is more older than she is. In real life, this one was fairly old when this thing took place in 1939. And I actually had an aunt who lived in England for a while. I actually lived near down where Sutton Hoo was, actually visited the British Museum and saw the treasure that this thing had. And obviously, Edith Pretty had a son who's one of these precocious kids who looks up to Basil Brown as a father figure. We also meet a really snobbish museum curator. There's obviously a tenderness to the relationship between the Carey Mulligan and the Ralph Fiennes character. And we come to learn from the Pretty character that she is clearly in declining health. Obviously, we get to know that it's clearly a heart murmur that's going to kill her eventually. And obviously, one of the more interesting things about this is that I thought to myself, okay, the Ralph Fiennes character looked like half time he's about to have a coronary, but no, in real life, Basil Brown would die in the 1970s, amazingly enough. This hour or so is really paid attention to historical accuracy of how do you exactly go about excavating something that clearly may or may not be there. Obviously, at one point in real life, Henry VIII was interested in finding this thing. Clearly, that didn't happen. Frankly, this is what Indiana Jones would do in real life, not be a swashbuckling hero for all we know. Second hour here apparently involves a couple played by, and in real life this couple actually was real, played by Ben Chaplin, Lily James, and Lily James has the weird glasses and try to play down, Lily James' look. And granted, her relationship with Carey Mulligan is sort of central here and there, and obviously they have interesting dynamic between the two. It's also, but then of course there's a really weird romantic subplot between the Carey Mulligan's cousin character played by Johnny Flynn, and that romantic triangle between Johnny Flynn and Ben Chaplin and her never happened in real life. I don't know why they put it in there. Maybe because they feel like, oh yeah, we need to fill out roughly 2 hours. Let's just go with that. The fact that this guy is sometimes emotionally unavailable. We also meet Basil Brown's wife, and she's, interesting on a certain occasion. These people only died like 20 to 30 years ago, and we come to learn at the end of the film that Basil Brown's accomplishments here were only really recognized just recently. What they found at Sutton Hoo really was not shown until several years after her death. And obviously after she died, the son went off to live with an aunt. One thing I have to say is, granted, I don't watch a lot of Masterpiece Theater. No one does their stuff better like the British, because the British are they're not like Americans, they're not high gloss. They do their things well, they accomplish the story of what they want to show you in so many minutes, and not with a whole bunch of subplots getting in the way. So in the end, folks, what I'm going to say about The Dig, I'm going to give this, mainly enough, a matinee because I think this is quite interesting. And if you're interested in archaeology, please come see this film. So folks, The Dig, have you seen this? What did you think? Please put everything in the comment box here below here, folks. As always, folks, like, comment, subscribe. Rid yourself of knowledge. I'll see you next time, folks. Yes, hooray.